Today I'm going to be teaching you how to write an awesome paragraph. Paragraph is when you are writing 3 to 5 sentences. That is the first step to a paragraph. It has to have 3 to 5 sentences. Now it says 5 plus. You can have more than 5. You can have 10 sentences if you want, but it has to have at least 3, and the goal is 5 for you. 3 is a wimpy paragraph. So before we talk more about a paragraph, let's talk about how you write on your piece of paper. So this is a giant chart that looks like a piece of paper. So anytime you have if you're going to use your notebook, that's fine. But anytime you have a piece of paper by itself, if there are holes on it, the holes go on the left. The holes go on the left. I have a lot of times where kids will get their piece of paper and they'll write their whole story this way, which technically that page is backwards because the holes go on the left this way. All right, and then when you are writing in your journal or a story, it needs to have your name and the date. Always include the date so that you know when you wrote that story. When you're old like me and you look back at journals from when you were in 3rd grade, it would be nice to have the date on it so you can see when you wrote it. All right, then the title goes at the top if there's a title. Then, see this funny word here, indent? An indentation, which means indent, means you're going to start the very first sentence in a tiny bit. It's the first line of the first sentence, and that's it. It is going to, instead of starting on the pink line, it's going to start like 2 fingers over, and then your sentence will go, 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 and all of the other sentences touch this pink line. So first sentence starts here, the rest go to the pink. If you don't understand what I'm saying, look at this example. So here's a story I wrote, and it started with an indentation. So I indent the first word of the first sentence. I left a big break here. Then I wrote, I really like the changes that are, and then look, this one, when I went to the next line, it touched that pink line, are happening at recess. And then every other sentence that I did in my story started at that pink line. I know a lot of kids have a tendency to go zoop, like at an angle. You want it to try to touch that pink line. Okay? So those are 2 things that paragraphs have to have. At least 3 sentences, but 5 is the goal. 5 or more is the goal. It has to be indented, so you leave that space before the first word of the first sentence. Those are the 2 main things I want us to focus on. But a true awesome paragraph has some more things to it. The first sentence introduces the topic. That means the first sentence tells us what the rest of the paragraph is going to be about. So if you see how I put a box around that first sentence, it says, I really like the changes that are happening at recess. So everything else in this paragraph is talking about the changes at recess. So that's introducing. That's my introduction. It's introducing. This is what I'm going to talk about for the rest of this paragraph. And so if I start talking about something different, then I'll start a new paragraph. So if this one is, I really like the changes that are happening at recess, maybe my second paragraph would be, I really like the changes that are happening at lunch, or something like that. All right, so next thing, the other sentences support the topics. They go off the first one. And then the last sentence is your conclusion sentence. It ends the paragraph. So sometimes you might restate what you said in the first sentence, or you might ask a question. So let's read my awesome paragraph. Here's the indentation, started with that big space, and then it's the introduction sentence, the first sentence introducing my topic. I really like the changes that are happening at recess. The middle sentences all support that first sentence. Having more things to do and play with make it more fun and cut down on behavior problems. That has to do with recess. Some of the new additions include more balls, hula hoops, and sidewalk chalk. That has to do with recess. I also think it will be so cool to have the assistants play kickball and other games with the kids. That has to do with recess. And I spelled assistants wrong, so that says assistants. But you know what? Everybody makes mistakes with spelling. I need to just spell check when I'm done. All right, and here's my last sentence. It's going to end the paragraph by restating what I already said or asking a question. Ready? We need a change, and I'm excited to see how the recess changes impact Haley's students. So I restated something about the changes. Makes my paragraph feel or read like it's the end of me talking about that topic. All right? So what we're going to do today, now that you've seen what an awesome paragraph looks like, that doesn't mean you're going to be experts, but we're going to practice one. So let me do a demonstration and then you're going to do one by yourself. Okay, so in your writing notebook, if you have one, I just gave everybody a notebook that needed one, but whatever you have been using to write, go to the next clean page, and you're going to do just like it showed on our paper, on that giant paper, where you're going to write your name and the date. The date is 10-12-2020. And then the title, for the title, we're going to write paragraph, P-A-R-A, and then graph about me. So you guys are all going to write a paragraph about yourself. So you might want to pause it and get all this written on your paper. Okay, so now we are going to work on writing our paragraphs. So the first sentence needs to be our topic, our introduction topic. So you might say something like, would you like to know a lot of information about me? Or I'm going to tell you all about myself. Something that introduces that it's going to be about you. But we start with that indent. So we're going to take like a finger space or maybe like a 2-finger space and then start our word away from that red or pink line. I am going to tell you all about me, myself. Okay, I am going to tell you, now look, now that I'm going back, I'm not going to start it right here because then I actually don't have an indent in my story. This is the only one that has that space. So this next sentence, when I'm done with this line and I go to the next line, even though it's still part of the same sentence, the first line is the only one, the first line of the first sentence. I'm going to tell you, now I go back to this pink line, all about myself, period. So the reason that you indent is that if you have more than one paragraph, you can tell where one paragraph starts and one paragraph ends. It separates your information. So if this is my introduction, the next several sentences need to be information about myself. So I want you to write, this is your introduction sentence. I want you to give me, let's aim for 4 sentences in the middle that tell me all about you. And then we're going to do one more sentence at the end that is your conclusion sentence. So let me pause and finish mine so I could show you an example. Okay, so I've got my paragraph mostly written. I have my introduction sentence. I'm going to tell you all about myself. Everything else that I've said in the next 4 sentences are telling you about myself. My favorite color is purple. That's about me. I have 3 kids named Vivian, Savannah, and Vaughn. That's about me. I work as a virtual 3rd grade teacher at Haley Elementary School. That's about me. Some hobbies I enjoy are singing, drawing, and sewing. That's about me. So now I just need to finish it. My last one is my conclusion sentence that is going to make this feel done. So I could ask a question. So do you like any of the things that I like? Or I could just say, that's a little bit about, or that's a tiny glimpse of my life, or whatever. There is a tiny glimpse about me. So I am kind of finishing that paragraph by restating what I said in the first one, okay? One last thing I want to show you before you work on your own is let's try really hard not to have kindergarten sentences. What I mean by that is a kindergarten sentence would be, I like my mom. My mom is nice. She is tall. Like everything where it's da, 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 da. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 words. So here's an example. I could have said, I like purple, but instead I said, my favorite color is purple. I have 3 kids named Vivian, Savannah, and Vaughn. I could have said just, I have 3 kids. I work as a virtual 3rd grade teacher at Haley Elementary School. I could have said, I teach 3rd grade. I enjoy, or some hobbies I enjoy are singing, drawing, and sewing. I like to sing. I like to draw. I like to sew. Do you see the difference? Try not to do a kindergarten sentence. Let's add in some vocabulary words that make this read more like a 3rd grade story. So you are going to right now in your own notebook start with your name and the date, paragraph about me, Write the first sentence. It can even be the same as mine if you'd like. I'm going to tell you all about myself. Write me 4 sentences in the middle that are all about you, and then end it with a conclusion so that you are practicing writing a good paragraph that has an indentation that is 5 sentences or more. And I will put all of those hint directions of these on the LMS so that you can get going. All right, get writing.